Hi, Faz. Good morning.
Hi, Mark. Good evening in Singapore, actually, right now.
Yeah. Good morning to me. Good evening to you. We're gonna jump right into it. You know, one of the things that we like to do immediately when we start sitting down with a client is we like to talk to them and ask them a few questions about who they are, what their expectations are for their wedding. I'd love to know first, right off the bat, how did you and your fiance meet?
Well, John, he's American, and he studied in Singapore. Let's see, 4 years ago, he was doing his master's, his grad school in Singapore, and one of my friends went to the same school as he did, and the school was having a no, not Halloween party. So I was dressed up as a sailor, and he was a doctor.
And he was a doctor.
Yeah, he was a doctor. And then he came up to me and he asked me, "Oh, are you an actress?" And I'm like, "What kind of pickup line is that?"
Well, you are very pretty.
And then he's like, "It's a film school. There are actresses around." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You're so, but that's not me. Okay.
Not me."
And
Um,
so
yeah, and then so we started talking, and then I gave him my number, and then I guess the rest is history.
that's fantastic. One of the reasons why I ask questions like that is because I like to get a sense of how you guys met and who you are, and sometimes that helps allow us to incorporate that somewhere into your weddings, whether either in the ceremony or on it could be on the card table or even in the table numbers on your dining table. Because you met during Halloween, for example, all your table numbers could be different goblins or ghosts or things like that. So you kind of make it fun.
I said we love Halloween. We're like both horror movie buffs, so it'll be quite fun as well.
So you know what? It was meant to be, wasn't it? So can I give you? We're gonna quickly talk about like what's your color scheme? What are you guys thinking about in terms of color for your ceremony and your reception?
Can I tell you, I've only been planning my honeymoon and not my wedding. Is that
Well, do you have a favorite color? Because I'm seeing a lot of pink and purple in the background here.
but I think like things I don't think John will like pink on his wedding day, so I think he might go for like a purple and gray theme if I push it. Yeah.
If you push it, right?
Yeah.
And are you guys are you looking for a more traditional ceremony and reception, or what were you guys thinking in terms of that?
I'm Indian by heritage, right? And I live in Singapore. So traditionally, Indian weddings are huge, but I don't want it to be like that. And I think my parents are okay with me not having a big wedding in Singapore. So we're gonna have two weddings, one here and one in the US.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Lee,
So,
that's a great idea. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so in the US, we're probably gonna have a church wedding,
Mhm.
and that will be probably in the summer of next year, hopefully.
Okay. All right. And that's going to speak a lot to his family and friends.
Yeah.
And then the wedding you're doing in Singapore. I'm sorry.
Some of my family and friends will go there, and likewise, like for this part of the wedding, they will fly here. So it's
Exactly. So,
a
so
mismatch.
that's typical these days with couples that are international. We're dealing with a client right now that was originally from Taiwan. They've already done their traditional Taiwanese wedding, and now we're working with them on their American wedding here in the fall in October. So I think it's great that you guys speak to both of your cultures and that you guys speak to and support and want to have both sides of your families really happy about how the ceremonies went forth. That's a great idea, and it allows all your friends on both sides to enjoy the festivities. How many people you? How many? What's your bridal party looking like? Or how many brides? I mean, well, you're my bride. How many bridesmaids? Flower girl? What are you guys doing?
Well, I think I'll have like five bridesmaids or less.
Okay,
Yeah, 4 to 5.
4 to
And
5. Uh
yeah,
huh.
4.
And then
And
you'll
then,
do the same. You guys will do the same thing in terms of on when you come to the United States as well.
yeah, for sure. So like we'll have the same bridesmaids and groomsmen here and there.
Uh huh.
So it'll
Different.
be the same people. We're gonna get to
Oh
experience.
wow! So they're gonna get to travel back. Oh, they're gonna have fun. You guys are having a good time, aren't you? That's good.
Hopefully they can pay for their own ticket.
Well said. Well said. So, okay, so you're having your ceremony. You're going to do somewhat of a traditional, well, it's going to be a little bit traditional, I'm assuming, when you're in Singapore
Yeah,
to honor your parents.
yeah. My parents are Muslim, so we're going to have the nikah ceremony
Yes,
where
yes.
the dad gives away the bride, and then we're probably going to have. I want a reception on a yacht so that I can keep the numbers small. So my
Okay,
mom, oh, I have to invite more people. I'm like, oh, it's a yacht.
right. Well,
Yeah.
that's really important because the Indian weddings that we do can go run up to 500 people. More
My cousin
sometimes.
had 2,000 people at her wedding that
Yeah.
lasted
It's
for
like
5
we always tease and say like, who wants that many friends? but it's all good. So that's really smart. So when you're talking about doing your ceremony and then moving the reception itself onto a private yacht, that allows for you to actually pull the numbers down, and also it's a great budget conscious decision in that you are limited to the amounts of food and the types of foods and things like that, but yet you're still going to be able to have a really amazing time. So is it going to be moored, or are you going to travel along
I
the area?
haven't figured that out yet because of the logistics as well. I don't know like
Yes.
how food will travel, but then I also would like, because we're on a yacht, it'll be nice to bring people around.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Singapore is an island, so it'll be nice to actually do that. But on the other hand, it depends on the logistics and like, I mean, there'll be children on board, so
Right.
like with yeah.
So one of the things that I think you should be aware of. So your timeline of your ceremony will be important, because I think what's very wonderful and romantic when we've done ceremonies, not necessarily ceremonies, receptions on yachts before, is that you'll do your ceremony before dusk, so that way when you're on the boat and you're having your cocktail hour, then the sun starts to recede, and
Oh,
then you move into dinner and you have this beautiful skyline of Singapore around you, and it becomes very fun and very romantic.
I didn't think of that. Thank you.
Yes, the timeline of that is really important, because it's almost like you're moving. It's a succession of how the party's going to be played. So that would be really fun for you guys to consider.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even consider, depending on your numbers, you could get married on the yacht itself, and then you move into cocktail hour, and that way you're not moving your guests from so many different locations. That way they all come to the yacht. They have, you start off, they board, you have some sparkling wine, or champagne, maybe bubbling water, and then you move on into your ceremony. From there, you have your ceremony, most depending on how long you want to have it. A lot of ceremonies are anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. And then you move right into cocktail hour, and then of course your family and friends will move into your photo op times for right after the ceremony, family photos, things like that. So those are things you might want to consider. Also, let's move back a little bit. Are you doing a save the date?
Again, I don't know yet.
So okay. This is what I suggest, especially since you're doing two weddings. Say a online save the date is more than acceptable today, and then a hard copy formal invitation to follow. It also is cost effective.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll help you a lot because you're basically doing two full-on weddings. So you know. I'm just trying to think of what else would be a great suggestion for you. Well, we know how many people you're going to have in your party from both times, and your the ceremony and everything in Singapore on the boat. That's a fantastic idea, and it's very unique. So it's not like what everyone else does. So then, when you come to the United States, what are you guys thinking about in the United States?
Yeah, I think that's my problem because I mean I visited where he's from South Jersey, so I mean
Uh-huh.
I've visited like I don't know 3, 4 times now over Christmases,
Right.
but I don't know any of the locations. And obviously, because he's a guy, he doesn't care about wedding locations. He
That's
just knows
pretty much true. That's pretty
I'll be
much true.
church, and then I'm like, okay, then what happens next?
Right, exactly. So I think one of the most important things that needs obviously the date needs to be decided upon. Then the location is going to be very important. That's also going to be determined on how many people you're going to actually have at that ceremony reception. That's going to determine your venue choices.
Okay.
The lucky thing about being here in New York and New Jersey is that there's multiple locations to be had, all depending on the date. So when was the date for the American?
End of August next year, so about this time next year.
Oh,
Well,
perfect,
yeah.
perfect. You could actually do an outside ceremony and reception if you
That would
wanted
be
to.
nice because in Singapore it's always too hot and too humid,
Uh-huh.
whereas in the US it cools down actually at night in the
Yes,
evening.
it does. Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
But I really want a brunch wedding. I thought it'd be nice to have a brunch wedding.
Yes, that would be really nice. A Sunday brunch wedding would be kind of very chic,
Yeah.
especially if you did it outside. That would be really kind of nice. But if you're doing a brunch in the middle of the day in August, August a lot of times is the hottest time of the year here. So, but you wouldn't know it this year because it's not. We're
Oh,
moving
really?
into, we're getting ready to move into August, and it's almost like we're in September. It's beautiful.
Oh,
The afternoons and evenings have been spectacular here.
good.
So we never know what Mother Nature's going to offer up, though. But a brunch wedding is really great. I mean, you could do an outside brunch wedding. All you would need is just an overhead tent with no side walls, and you could actually do it on a property. You could do it on a restaurant right off the water, off the Hudson, on the New Jersey side. There's a number of places there that are fantastic that you could utilize. Or you could even do there's a W Hotel in Jersey City that has a beautiful balcony looking over the Hudson. So that's a great option because there you have your guests could stay in the hotel that are traveling. You have everything in one spot, and also it's cost effective as well. Very cost effective to consider a hotel overlooking the Hudson in Manhattan that has that has room blocks that you could actually work with. Um, so color, you're not sure about your color yet?
Yeah, I'm not
Talk,
sure what
talk,
color you-
talk to me. What's your favorite color?
Purple, I guess.
I can see that. It's a
I
very
don't
pretty color.
think both of us look good in bright colors. So, things that should complement our skin tone. So, yeah.
Right? I'm always looking at that myself. I always tell people, make sure I look good in that shot.
It was important.
Like these are important things you have to consider. So purple, and that's a traditional Indian color as well, though. It's a color
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's very cultural, so it's a beautiful color. The month of August, I mean, dahlias, roses, hydrangea, things like that are going to would be beautiful choices for you, and also would hold up whether you're going outside or inside, which is important to remember.
Well, I would like to incorporate some of my Indian heritage in my US wedding, whether it's wearing like an Indian outfit for the ceremony,
Sorry, right? Uh-huh.
yeah, or something, I don't know, maybe the door gift that everybody gets is something
Yeah.
Indian. Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be important to speak to both you and his heritages. I think it's something that I think it makes your ceremony and your reception really special to your guests and also memorable. I mean, also you could even do you could bring in dancers. You could bring in, it could be, the band could play something that's more traditional Indian, as well as, you know, the top 40, things
Yeah.
like that, to make it more fun as well. You want to, you know, this is your special day. This is all about you. So whatever you like is really what you can do. There are no rules anymore as to what should and should not happen when you're designing your own wedding. Yeah. So that, I think bringing in that the color would be a really great idea. Would be a very good idea. What else? What else speaks to you guys that do you think that would make it?
Well,
Is there something that your mom or dad or his mom and dad really wants to make sure that it's a part of the ceremony, or the reception?
not
Excuse me.
sure. I think one of the things that my mom wants to do is for the Muslim ceremony. She wants it to happen in a mosque. So that'll
Okay.
be nice as well because you know, when you have visitors from the US, they might have never been into a mosque, like especially one in Asia. So it'd be nice to be like a sightseeing thing as well.
Right, and the mosques themselves, I bet you the ones in India, Singapore are beautiful. I mean, normally the mosques are really ornate and very gorgeous.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
have a lot of space and it's very cost effective as well because all you need to do is make a donation to the mosque
this is
itself.
true. You don't have to worry about flowers and stuff. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. So, I mean, those are things that you should really start, you know, to think about, consider, um, really start putting together kind of like a timeline of when you want some of these things done, because you'll be very surprised at how it's going to creep, how it's going to creep up on you at the last minute, and you'll be like, oh my God, I don't have a third of this done. That's why they hire planners like me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So, let's start with the timeline. 1 year before my wedding, say now, what should I start to do?
Well, I think the most important thing you should do right now is make sure that you have procured both of your venues. Make
Oh, really?
sure
Right
you've
now?
chosen
Wow.
them and lock down your venues, because once you've locked down your venues, then you can start then figuring out how many people you want to do based upon both the venue sizes. You've already made it very clear that you don't want either wedding to be too large.
Yeah.
So doing, you know, choosing that venue and locking it down and making sure that that date is available for you is going to be really important. One of the first things I would do. Then from there, depending on the location, whether it be in India or, I'm sorry, in Singapore or here in the United States, is making sure your officiant is available for you to officiate the festivities. Um, Dealing with the save the dates, I would then fall in line and start working out the save the dates and breaking down on your list for both the U.S. and Singapore who you would like to invite, who's actually able to come to one or both. You're going to have to consider room blocks for both Singapore and the United States. So when you're considering room blocks for your guests to come over, you always have three choices. You're going to do a high, a medium, and then a more budget-conscious choice for rooms. And then try to do it in a central location, if possible, that everybody can get to, because you're going to be having dinners, you know, rehearsal dinners, things like that. And then you don't want to have to throw your friends into a cab, and they've been drinking a little too much or whatever, having a little too much fun, and they have to drive, you know, an hour out to their hotel. Things like that. You want to make them really convenient. Some fun things to consider is, especially for the people who are traveling, you might want to consider a thank you gift to be already placed in their room when they arrive, to say, welcome, we're so happy you're going to be here to share in our special day, things like that. These are like the little, it's all, what we say here at MWD Lifestyles is that it's all about the details. Those kind of little details are what's going to make that whole experience, both in Singapore and in the United States, memorable for you and your guests. Speaking of memorable, photographers. finding the right photographer, both in the United States and again in Singapore, are going to be really important for you guys. These are the photos that you're going to have and you're going to share for the rest of your life, your children, with your grandchildren. You want to make sure you have the right photographer who really speaks to you, speaks to who you guys are and the style that you would like for the photos to be. Some people like photojournalism. Some people like, you know, a much more relaxed, fun. It just depends on your, who you and your fiance are and what you guys are looking for in terms of photography. Throwing out a lot of stuff at you right now. But
I'm glad this is recorded.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm glad this is recorded.
Okay. Well, because there's so many little details that need to be considered. So let's move on into another detail that's going to be important for both Singapore and the United States. The type of food that you're going to have. If you're going to be on the yacht, so you're going to want to speak to food that is traditional to you and your family, and things that you know for a fact that you would have at a Muslim indie wedding, for example, and then you mix that up with some Americanized food, or maybe even some Singapore food. Maybe you're going to have some buffets. Maybe you have 2 different or 3 different buffets. One that speaks to your Indian heritage, one that's very kind of international, and one that maybe has something that's very traditional to Singapore, something like that. To kind of mix it up and make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are kind of great. Any questions for me, real quick, because we're going to have to wrap it up really soon.
Yeah. Why should brides hire a wedding planner?
Well, partially because of all the little logistical and detail-oriented elements that we've already discussed in this call. There are so many details, and also keeping to a timeline is going to be crucial, and making sure that you're going to have a very unstressful experience on your wedding day. Brides always get so stressed out, and when you have a planner that has your back and that's looking at your timeline, that's making sure that all your vendors are in place and are there on time, especially, for example, your hair and makeup person, things like that. That's really important.
That's one thing I already have, my hair and makeup person.
Ah, see? So you're a little bit ahead of the game.
Just that step itself.
So thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's about it. That's all that you've given me a lot. So.
Okay, I'm glad I could help, and thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thanks for speaking to me. I'm excited to update you on my progress.
Great, absolutely. We'd love to hear, and please feel free to give us a call, and let's talk about how we can help you here in the United States or in Singapore.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a lovely day, or actually evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, Faz. Bye, darling. Okay, see you guys later. I'm going to hang up now.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Faz.
Good night.